And so this one, I agree, is more abstract, but there are definitely, there's the possibility for sure of seeing what it is. And it just is, it is Inland Empire.
Attention Coco, on est trop lent, je chante et c'est à toi. Hein?
Mr. David Lynch, are you enjoying Paris?
Always.
Always? Is your hotel okay? Your bed is not too hard?
It's beautiful.
Beautiful? You made sweet dreams? Very important dreams, isn't it?
Huh? No, the dreams are not so important.
Yeah. So, thank you very much for accepting this interview, and also thanks to my partner Dailymotion for making it possible. I'd like to start by telling you a very short story. Imagine David Lynch is in a plane back to LA. He's sitting next a 16-year-old boy. The young boy doesn't recognize him. Seemingly, he doesn't know anything about David Lynch. And suddenly, he asks David Lynch, "What are you doing in life?" How will David Lynch introduce himself?
I would say I am a human being, and I enjoy catching ideas and translating them to one medium or another.
But what kind of movies are you doing? Because the young boy is 16 years old, he will ask you, what kind of movies?
Well, what do you mean? I'm telling stories like movie makers, all over the world. And I'm telling stories based on ideas that I got, which I happened to fall in love with. So that's what I do.
All right, so to end with this 16-year-old boy, which movie would you recommend him to enter your very personal world?
I would tell him, if he was interested, to start with the short films and see how it evolved, and then see Eraserhead right off the bat.
All right. So you're here in Paris to promote your new film, Inland Empire, with Laura Dern, Jeremy Irons, and Justin Theroux. I won't ask you what is the story of the film, because I know you don't like that. And before the movie premiere, you said to the audience, "Have a nice experience." For you, it's more than a movie, than a film. It's an experience.
For me, all films are an experience, and it's experience we can't have any other way except to be in that theater, and later to experience it on a DVD, and hopefully in a dark room with a big picture and great sound. And that's one thing I would encourage that 16-year-old boy to do, because it's very delicate. When you go into a world, the sound and the picture together, it's very delicate. The sound has got to be a big volume, not ridiculously big, but big to envelop you. So you hear the quietest sounds and experience the loudest sounds. The picture should be so big that you feel you're in that world, A small picture with weak sound is a joke. It's the sickest joke, that there's no experience there, nothing.
My neighbors do not agree with you.
Yeah, who are your neighbors?
Oh, there are old people that want to be quiet.
Oh, old people, they're very sensitive. And so they could sit near the television and put in the DVD and maybe dim the lights, and they could go into that world, because they're very sensitive and they may not like to be overwhelmed. The 16-year-old boy, on the other hand, likes to be in a world, deep in the world, having that experience, real experience. And then they've seen the film, they've been in that world.
It's sometimes your movies can be very disturbing for some audience. For example, Justin Theroux, your main actor in Inland Empire, said, "I couldn't possibly tell you what the film is about, and at this point, I don't know that David Lynch could."
I don't understand what Justin said. You know, Justin must have been a moment of weakness on Justin's part. The filmmaker should understand the ideas that they catch one way or another. You catch an idea and you have your understanding. Now, my understanding may not be another person's understanding when things get abstract. And so the more abstract a thing, the more different interpretations, the varying understandings are. It's the way it goes. And it would be wrong for me to say my understanding. It kills the fun and the magic of a person experiencing it and coming up with their own, you know, thoughts and feelings and, you know, conclusions. And it's so great. When I go to a film, I don't want to know so much. I want to sink in that world and have that experience and come up with my own conclusions. That's so beautiful.
But I have the impression that with Inland Empire, you have reached a new step. You are very far from Hollywood. I think with Mulholland Drive, you can see 3 times the movie and then understand, find clues. But with this one, it is tougher. Very, very tougher. You're very close from art. Far from cinema.
It's cinema. Cinema can say many things. And again, it's the ideas that come that tell you, you know, everything, and then you translate those ideas. And so it could happen that the next time I get ideas for a film, it would be a very concrete story. It's the ideas that you fall in love with that tell you. And so this one, I agree, is more abstract, but there are definitely there's the possibility for sure of seeing what it is, and it just is. It is Inland Empire.
So, I think, what is the next step? Will you show your movies in museums, like your paintings? Like, you know, there are artists like Matthew Barney, for example, that are making video. Will you do that?
They're
What is the difference between Matthew Barney and you?
I don't know this Matthew Barney, so I don't know the difference. There's lots of videos, installations, and they're valid. They're ideas. They're small ideas. They repeat. You know, they give a lot, and they're you know, some beautiful, you know, ideas there. Then there's ideas that are, you know, stories with a beginning and a middle and an end, and they have a form, and it's called a feature film form. There's many variations on that form, and it will hold many different types of experiences. It's a beautiful form.
Now we'll talk about David Lynch on the web, because I know the web is very important to you. You have a website, davidlynch.com. In Inland Empire, for example, you took movies from this website, like the one with the rabbits. How do you use the web to create movies?
Same thing. The website, when it first started, was, you know, at a time when there was short things were the only things that could be seen on the web. It was a short film medium, and so I started doing, you know, I started in film doing short films, but there's many experiments that were short. But whenever you start something, it doesn't mean that it's over. A lot of things, you know, just keep simmering, and more ideas come from it. So you never know. And it's just important to, when you get the idea, write it down, and sometimes, shoot that idea, and then seeing it and focusing on it, sometimes more comes from that. It's so many times that first thing can conjure, a huge thing.
I'm completely hypnotized. The thing with your hands. So, David Lynch, do you know what Web 2.0 is?
No.
Do you know that you invented Web 2.0?
Really?
Yeah. Web 2.0, it's when people are taking power over big brands or over movies, when they are participating on the web, talking to each other. When people see one of your movie, the day after, he creates a website to discuss about it, to write theories about it, to discuss with other people. You know that, for example, Mulholland Drive, there are thousands of websites about Mulholland Drive. Are you happy that people are talking about your movies on the web? Do you read what people say?
The internet is our home now, and it connects people from all over the world. It is a place for, so much exchange of ideas and inspiration. It's the greatest thing, the home in the ether. It's really, really phenomenal. And it's going to be the home for feature films, just like now it's the home for music. And DVDs will go, and CDs will go. Maybe some people still want hardware, but it's the future, and it's very beautiful. It's very beautiful. It's a global thing, and it will be this participate in bringing the world together in a great way.
Do you know Vin Vin?
Who?
It's me.
Vin Vin.
No, I do not know Vin Vin.
Is it just sitting over there? He's a very big fan, and he's doing a very nice show on the web that is called
Bonjour America.
Bonjour America.
It's in English.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's for the Americans. And 30% of my audience is American. And excuse me, micro here. And I go.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Vin Vin.
Oh, it's a pleasure for me.
You know what his dream is? His dream is to meet Clint Eastwood.
And just after that, David
I'm
Lynch.
sorry.
I have two questions. The first one, you said about your inspiration on the net. I was younger, but I remember that your inspiration was dead bodies. It must be very difficult to live with that all the time, so it's good if you find another inspiration. Did you find it?
No, I don't think I said my inspiration is dead bodies forever. What I think I might have said is that all of this phenomenon around us is interesting. And some things that we see are incredibly interesting until we find out the name. There's so much in textures in decay, all kinds of decay, and those textures are sometimes so beautiful. But there's all kinds of beautiful textures in growth in springtime,
Okay.
and it's all really interesting how it goes and how it goes away.
Do you think you could make a long movie with a mobile phone?
Yeah, but not. I want to go probably high def next time.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen cameras almost that size high def.
Mm-hmm.
So it's conceivable that would be a very valid camera.
On my blog, I asked people if they had questions for you. Asteni told me you don't have to ask me a question, just force it to do a following to Twin Peaks, because no, Dale Cooper can't finish like that. No. So what would you tell Asteni?
Anthony, you will have to imagine the rest on Anthony's own, which would be beautiful, Anthony.
After the screening of Eraserhead, Mel Brooks, who was your producer, told you, "I love you, you're a madman." Are you still a madman?
What, well, we talk to Mel and see what his interpretation of that is, but for sure, but it's again the ideas, you know, it's the ideas and the love of certain ideas that drive us.
Okay, so thank you very much, David Lynch, for receiving us. And I have just a last question. Last question is for a friend who lives in the US. His name is Chuck Norris. Perhaps you know him. He's a very famous actor. He played in Delta Force, Walker, Texas Ranger. You know him?
Sure, I know of him.
It's a little bit embarrassing. Would you give him a role in your next movie?
Tell him, you know, Chuck, there's a rule. Try to get the right person for the role. And so it's conceivable, Chuck, that, but I would very much like to work with you, and I think you're great. It's conceivable that an idea will come for a character that you would be perfect for, and if that happens, hopefully I can find out the name of your agent, and it'll happen.
Chuck Norris.
Oh, Chuck, I got good news for you. Thank you very much, David Lynch.
You betcha. Thank you.